Welcome to another episode of the World Football Summit podcast. We are recording live in Sevilla during WFS Europe. And today, once again, I am thrilled to welcome Kristian Dobrev from the Football Business Academy. This is your third time here. But you never know how many you have left, because I'll keep inviting you as always. Kristian, happy to have you here.
Thanks, Jaime. Always a pleasure to be here. I hope you won't get bored of me.
The thing is, it's not that I always have a lot of fun, but it's always relevant to have you here. And why? Because the football industry, as we talked last time, is in constant evolution.
Absolutely.
Change is the only constant, no? And that leads to new roles emerging. That leads to new necessities for football properties for any brand associated to football. And that's what I wanted to talk to you today, Kristian. So let's start with that, because you actually were in a panel. What emerging roles are you seeing in the industry today?
Yeah, Jaime, you make a great point, because obviously the football industry has evolved very rapidly in the past few decades. And as you said, at the end of the day, every few months there's some development in the industry that we need to be aware of. And as a global leader in football business education, we even more have to stay on top of these developments, because at the end of the day, we try to capture and educate talent that the market needs, right? So I think with the influx of investors coming into the football space overall, the football stakeholders, the football organizations have become more sophisticated, and the owners, the investors behind them, they are requiring and expecting people to have certain level of competency. So I see more than just the typical roles that have always been existing, whether it's on the commercial side or the sporting side. I think if you look at the job ads that the different football clubs or federations or organizations are publishing nowadays, you'll see things related to the metaverse, you'll see things related to your AI, of course. And I think more and more, you also notice that the clubs and the federations, for example, they know that at the end of the day, yes, to a big degree, they're community and local-based businesses, but of course, they're also very international. So I think a lot of clubs are still, or leagues even for that matter, they're either starting to or getting more sophisticated in doing internationalization, right? So I think those are some of the emerging things that we've been seeing over the past couple of years.
Yeah, I think so. That as brands, as football properties are becoming more brands, in a way they are, I'm not saying diversifying, but they're looking for different avenues other than football to generate revenues. You do need a different set of skills, so it does make sense. I'm also wondering, and this is something that you guys also talked about yesterday in terms of diversity, if I'm not mistaken. You guys talked about that. So are you also seeing an evolution in more roles for women and for other groups as well?
Absolutely. One thing that we always have tried to focus on at the FBA is attracting a very diverse set of candidates, and not just talking about gender, but also academic backgrounds, professional backgrounds, because at the end of the day, football organizations, they are companies at the end of the day, and they need people with different skills, different ideas, different experiences, which when you then put that together, it's what creates the magic, right? The same, I always like to use analogies between on the pitch and off the pitch, right? To get a great team on the pitch, you need a defender, you need an attacker, you need a midfielder, you need a goalie, you need someone that is more technical, one is that more fast, maybe one is that more physical, right? And depending on your strategy or your playing style, you want the best player for the different position. On the pitch is exactly the same.
I'm thinking also, diversity leads to wisdom. It's something that I don't know if we talked about this last time. It's definitely something that I've been discussing with other leaders, more diverse. And when I speak about diversity, I also speak about empowerment. But that, I guess, brings to mind another question, which is, okay, if the industry is growing, we're seeing the need for new roles, we're seeing the need for diversity. One of the main challenges the industry has seen is those people that want to switch careers. They come from other industries and they have a very difficult time to kind of get a place in football because they don't have that background experience. So how do you guys help those type of people? It's not just aspiring professionals. You also help, if I'm not mistaken, those who want to actually get their foot in the door that have a proven experience.
Definitely. So in the context of our professional master in football business, I would say that around 90% of our candidates are what we call career switchers, right? So they're people that have studied anything that you can imagine, from business or economics to law to finance to engineering, right? And the common denominator is that they're passionate about football, and at some point in their life, whether it's in their early 20s, late 20s, 30s, or even older, they realize that they only have one life and they want to work in something that they're passionate about, right? And so they have that aha moment, which allows them to look into this space a little bit more, do some research, figure out, whether it's an investment that they're interested in doing. And so we focus a lot on those because, again, coming to the previous question, the football industry is looking for those skills. Historically, football was hiring a lot, the people from within.
Yeah.
And I think that has clearly changed. And so, but for the people that come from outside, first of all, as a football fan, you only have a very limited understanding of how the football industry really works and all of its complexities. But then, of course, it's a very complex industry, so people want to get the right knowledge, which is, again, one of our 3 pillars on the program. And so they need to be guided. They need to be taught and mentored by people that work in the industry that have lots of experience in it, so that they can help the incoming let's say talents to navigate this industry in a more effective way. And of course, as we know, for better or worse, the football industry has this reputation, at least historically, that it's a quite closed environment, quite difficult to get into. And so we just try to use our experience and our network to make it slightly easier for those that come onto the program, so that they can actually do get in, right? Because the worst thing that can happen from an educational context is that you study something, you invest your time and money to do a degree, and then the job market says that you're not qualified enough.
Yeah, for sure. And you did mention knowledge as one of your pillars. Another one of your strong pillars is networking. I mean, maybe you can remind the audience of your pillars because they're very aligned to what we do at World Football Summit, but one of them is networking, And one of the things that I always admire about you guys is when you go to an event, and not necessarily World Football Summit, but I do see it that you guys are present in various events because you understand the power of networking. But when you get to the event, you try to help your students make the most out of it. Proving that an event like this is more than just panels and stats.
Good.
But can you give a sense of the different activities that you guys organize for your students once they come to an industry event like this?
Definitely. So first of all, networking is one of the key pillars because me and a few of our co-founders, we used to work, in a similar company way back when, and so we understood the importance and the value of these events. So when we created the whole structure of the professional master in football business, we knew that we wanted to make sure that our students would have the opportunity to come to these events. And as you said, at the end of the day, it's beyond the panels and the stands, of course, which already give a very interesting perspective on different topics related to the football industry, the different trends, the different companies that are involved. But to make sure that they get even more out of it, we always like to go the extra mile, right? So what we have here with the students who are present in Sevilla, we call it the networking week, all right? As the World Football Summit is a 2-day event, but they're coming from all over the world, so we want to make sure that they can get even more bang for their buck, as they say. And so what we do before and after the summit is several workshops in which we try to, share advice with them on, first of all, how to approach these types of events, but also just in general, talking about the reality of the football industry, what to look out for, what to do, what not to do. We also organize different field trips, right? So in this case, we visited Real Betis 2 days ago, and we will visit Sevilla FC tomorrow. So again, it's behind the scenes stadium tours, it's sessions, with people, with staff from those clubs who can give additional insights to our students. And in this event specifically, World Football Summit, beyond letting them network and meet people and listen into the sessions, we also organize a number of meet and greets where they have a very exclusive opportunity to meet with a top leader in the football industry, get a sense of what they've done in their career and pick their brain, ask the questions that they're most curious about, as well as the masterclass, right? So it's always a different topic, but again, it's an opportunity to gain some extra knowledge, make a new connection, and hopefully get away from this whole experience with more inspiration, with a better sense of what the football industry is all about, and help them at the end of the day use that as a way of figuring out where they may want to end up.
You know, it's funny when I look at all the meet and greets and the master classes that you organize. I always think to myself, I wish I could be one of these students, because you've done, you know, I remember one you did with Julio Orman, you did one with Peter Moore, and you did one with Fatma Samoda last year. So it was like, wow, I mean, how can I get in there? But anyway, and now, I mean, okay, we just talked about the experience of your students, but what about your experience? How has been your experience so far in the event? And what can you say about, you know, just the value that you're getting out of it?
I mean, it's gotten to a point where even my colleagues may make fun of me, in the sense that, you know, because I've been going to these events for 15 plus years now, I literally walk 2 meters and I have to give someone a hug because we know each other and we haven't seen each other in a while. So from that sense, you know, it's both intense but also very fun, because at the end of the day, you know, it's a people business. So and it's a very global business, right? So whether you want to or not, you don't have the opportunity to see people face to face that often. And these events are great opportunities to obviously bring people together and have a more intimate, let's say, encounter, and with more people in a short amount of time, right? So for me, it's always a pleasure, because, you know, we get the opportunity to catch up, to see what's going on in their lives, in their, you know, companies or clubs, what have you, see if there's any way that we can provide value to them and help them gain access to the column that you know, we educate. And at the end of the day, you know, it's also about the socializing. So at the end of the day, even though it's a very long day, it's a very intense experience, there's so many people, so much information, you still then continue until 3 a.m. because, you know, you want to have a little bit of fun with the people that you haven't seen in a while as well. So it's all part of what I said, being in this industry. As I said, it's a people's business. So being able to have those physical encounters is super valuable. So for me, it never gets old, it never gets boring. I'm already looking forward to the next one in Saudi in a few months. So yeah, for me, it's always great success. And of course, being able to distill all of that experience that I have coming to the events to our students before they come to their first events, I think is also very valuable, because at the end of the day, for them, it can be quite overwhelming. And so like preparing them a little bit and giving them some tips and insights and how to behave, how to make the most out of it, I think is great. And honestly, you know, if you meet and talk with them, hopefully they'll give you their experience. And then when I talk with the alumni, usually they also say like, yeah, the first one, you know, they're a bit more nervous, they don't know maybe exactly what to do. But then the second, the third one, they become naturals, and they already want to feel that they've been doing this for years. So
yeah, we were kidding last time when we were talking with Erkut on the podcast how I had to catch up with you on the podcast, because during the event you were just surrounded by people all the time. So, you know, and it's been fun to catch up. It's been fun, this conversation as always, Kristian. Looking forward to the next one. Thank you so much. And I'm just thinking about the next day when I'm inviting you back to the podcast. So thank you
so much, man. Always a pleasure.
Thank you.